First up, uh, politics. There's a big project moving ahead, plus changes in the government.
Mm,
Where do we even start?
Definitely a lot happening. I'd say the biggest news is the Suðuroy or Tunnelin.
The what now?
Sorry, Suðuroy or Tunnelin. It's that tunnel project to connect the island of Suðuroy to the rest of the Faroe Islands. And get this, all the political parties are on board.
Wow, so, like, everyone agrees. That's got to be rare,
Yeah,
right?
pretty much. Especially for something this big. It's more than just a tunnel, really. It's about connecting the communities, boosting the economy, could change life on the islands.
Makes sense, but
Yeah.
how are they going to pay for all this? I mean, it's a whole tunnel underwater, right?
Right. The cost is estimated at 4 billion kroner. Think about it, for a nation the size of the Faroes, that's huge. Like 10% of their whole GDP.
Wow. Okay, yeah, that puts it in perspective. This is a big, big deal.
For sure. And all this is happening while there are changes in the government, too. Ingalill Strum resigned from the Ministry of Environment, and Susanna Bertholdsson is the new Minister of Health.
So two big positions changing. Is this, like a sign of trouble?
Hmm.
Or is this normal for the Faroes?
Good question. The Faroes are actually known for working together, finding consensus. Doesn't mean there's no disagreement, but they tend to collaborate, especially on things that affect the whole nation.
So more like a shuffle than a crisis then.
Yeah, exactly. Now, speaking of adjustments, let's talk about the public sector workers. Almost went on strike, but things changed at the last minute.
I saw that. Always a relief when a strike's averted.
Yeah.
Did they get a deal then?
Yep. They secured a 7.65% pay raise. That was enough to stop the strike.
7.65%. Not bad. Must have been a tough decision for the government with all that's going on, right?
Definitely. Makes you think about the Faroes economy, inflation, and all that. Plus, you've got the retirement age going up to 70 for people born after 1974.
Yeah, I read about that. Big change. We're seeing that in other countries too, but how's it playing out in the Faroes?
It's stirring things up a bit. Some say it's needed to keep the pensions going as people live longer, but others are worried about older workers, especially in tough jobs.
Yeah, work until 70. That's a long time. Makes you think about, how long we're expected to keep working. And speaking of big things affecting everyone, we can't ignore the U.S. election.
Oh, yeah. Can't escape that one anywhere these days. How are people in the Faroes reacting to it?
Yeah, what's the buzz over there?
It's mixed, to be honest. Some are worried about trade, especially the fishing industry. That's a big deal for them. Others think there might be new opportunities, partnerships and stuff.
Wild how an election so far away can have such an impact, even on islands like the Faroes.
Shows how connected everything is, huh? Global events, politics, economics, even stuff like the environment, it all matters.
True that.
Oh.
Okay, so we've got politics, economics, global stuff. Sounds pretty intense. But before we go on, any quirky stories happening today? Something a little different.
Oh, you bet. Get ready for some whale vomit.
Whale vomit. Okay, now you've got my attention.
Okay, so about that whale vomit. It's not exactly what you'd think, but it's a cool story that shows, how the Faroes are connected to the sea, and it's even tied to the economy a bit.
Okay, I'm hooked. Tell me more about this whale vomit.
So the proper term is ambergris.
Oh.
It's this waxy stuff found inside sperm.
Not actually vomit then.
Yeah.
But still, whale stuff. Why is this news in the Faroes?
Get this, ambergris is really valuable for making perfumes. It has a unique scent, hard to copy, and since it's so rare, it can be worth a lot of money.
Wait, so there's like whale treasure washing up on Faroes beaches? That's wild.
Exactly. People are excited about this new discovery. It's like a modern-day treasure hunt, everyone looking for ambergris on the shores.
I can imagine. It's kind of cool, right? Like the ocean just offers up something valuable out of the blue.
Yeah, and it goes back to that connection between the Faroes and the sea. They've always relied on it, and now it's giving them this weird but valuable treasure.
I like that. It's like the sea giving back in its own way. Okay, so besides whale vomit treasure hunts, what else is happening in the Faroes?
Let's switch gears from the ocean to the digital world. There's been a lot of talk about this new Faroes Bible app.
A Bible app. Interesting. What's that all about?
It's a really cool example of using technology to preserve language and culture. Faroes is a very special language, and with English being everywhere, there's always this worry about smaller languages disappearing.
Yeah, I get that. Language is so tied to who we are. So how does a Bible app help?
It makes the Bible available to more people, especially younger generations who are, more into tech. It gets them reading in Faroes, which keeps the language alive.
That's smart. Taking something ancient, the Bible, and using it to support the language in the digital age.
Exactly, blending tradition and technology. And it shows how committed the Faroes are to, keeping their culture strong.
Love that.
Yeah.
It's inspiring to see how communities adapt, but also keep what makes them unique.
Couldn't agree more. Now, for our last story today, let's go back to the physical world, to the island of Sandoy, where they're giving an old hospital a new purpose.
Oh, yeah, that one. Turning it into a daycare center. Right. That's a feel-good story for sure.
It is, but it's also a smart move, reflects how things are changing in the islands. We talked about the older generation retiring later. Well, on the other side, you've got young families starting out needing childcare.
So it's like adapting what they already have to meet new needs.
Exactly. Instead
Mhm.
of an empty building, they're solving a problem. Wins all around.
That's great. Resourceful, helps the community. It's a positive story.
Totally. And with that, we're at the end of our little sprint through the Faroes news today. Quite a lot happened. Politics, money worries, whale vomit, even Bible apps.
We covered a lot, that's for sure. A glimpse into this fascinating part of the world. It's been a wild ride through the Faroes news. But beyond the headlines, what does all this tell us about the Faroes people, as a whole? What's the big takeaway here?
I think what stands out is their ability to adapt, change with the times, but still hold on to their roots. It's a small nation, right?
Yeah.
But they're dealing with big stuff, global changes, economic worries, even the power of nature. And they're doing it all with this mix of being practical and being creative. It's pretty impressive.
I see that. Like with the tunnel, that's bold, investing in their future. And with the U.S. election, there's that caution, but also a sense of, okay, let's see what we can do.
Exactly. And then you've got those stories that are just so Faroes, whale vomit treasure hunts, a Bible app to keep their language alive in the digital world, an old hospital becoming a daycare center. It's all about resourcefulness, community.
It's like they take whatever comes their way and make it work, turn challenges into something good.
Yeah, that's what makes the Faroe Islands so interesting. This tiny place way out in the North Atlantic, but dealing with things that everyone's facing globally. And they're doing it in a way that's, inspiring in a way.
Well said. This deep dive has been amazing. More than just news. It's given us a look at these resilient, innovative people.
It has. And it makes me wonder, what will they do next? How will they keep tackling these challenges, coming up with new solutions?
That's a great question. Maybe our next deep dive into the Faroes give us some answers.
Until then, keep exploring. Stay curious about the world.
Always more to discover, even in the most unexpected places. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.